garbage bags, so it's easier for me to carry in and out. If you ever have a lot of arthritis in your lower back, you can appreciate just carrying out one bag of trash instead of carving out a whole container or a big trash container. It's a lot easier. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Radiker. Next on the list is Beth Buchanan. Or Buckman, I'm sorry. Buckman, thank you.
I really wasn't prepared to come to speak tonight. Everyone knows I'm a very big talker, so I like to talk a lot. But I'm a lifelong resident of Parkersburg. I love this city more than anything. I went to college at Marshall and I came back. I didn't want to leave the area. But I couldn't live with myself if I didn't come and speak on behalf of the city sanitation workers that I've supported from the 34 years that I've lived at my house on Liberty Street. They are loyal, they know the city, they do a wonderful job, and personally, I feel the city has been taken advantage of by Vienna and what other municipalities that were using our recycling services. And I'm always going to pull for the little guy, and in this case, Parkersburg's the little guy, and I don't want anybody and our citizens to be taken advantage of. Not that, and also I want to send a shout out to Anna. I think she's the lady that answers the phone at the sanitation department, because when the trash wasn't going this spring, you never knew when the trash was going to show up. I know she fielded probably hundreds and hundreds of calls, and she was always very polite, very professional. And I am envious of our recycling area that we have. I am more interested in the trash service than recycling. I know there is a lot of recycling produced these days. My sister just left this afternoon. She came down from Philippi. She cannot even take her recyclables. They're closing centers all over the area. She can't take it to Elkins. She can't take it inside Philippi or even Clarksburg. So they've told her that they've advised her to like burn off her her cardboard and such. So I just want to know if this is just something that you all walked into, okay? Even Mr. Mayor, the funds, the increase in rates. How has this money not been given to the sanitation department? I know we pay for the policemen on a bill and our firefighters. How is the city? Are they considered city employees as well?
Yeah. I mean, the fees that are paid to sanitation fees are exclusively spent within the sanitation department. There's no commingling of funds. Quite frankly, the biggest issue right now is finding qualified work folk. I mean, I got some figures here somewhere. I mean, our average rate for commercial driver's license folks, I'm not going to be able to find it now, but it's, we have 3 licensed folks in the department, and the lowest paid one is at $16.59, and he was hired he's been here a little over a year. The others are at $24.60 and $21.27. Now they have 29 years of service and 19 years of service, and that's but the money, quite frankly, there's a substantial surplus in the sanitation fund currently, because we've got 20 vacancies on average.
If we're able to pay time and a half to pay city employees, where we don't have money to give them, I just feel they don't get paid a livable wage.
So for the CDL drivers and other departments that are filling in, their straight time portion is being paid out of their department, wherever they come from. Only the half-time portion is being paid out of sanitation fund.
Okay.
All right. Now, I will say, sorry, go ahead if you have something.
No, like I said, I'm just more concerned about this trash service, and this just didn't come to light here in the last year. And it just concerns me. I have always had great service, and
The only thing I would add is, and Eric and I talk about this a lot, talk about this with the other department, and some folks on council have heard me say this as well. It's not about necessarily year over year. Yeah, we got to balance a budget year over year, but I have always tried, and I think Eric does a good job of keeping me in this mindset of thinking over multiple time horizons. So it's not so much about what do we have to pay today, whether it be, $2 more or $18 minimum or $22 minimum or whatever, but we also have to be able to balance the budget, and in this particular case for sanitation, it's an independent fund. It has to pay for itself. So we have to be able to balance the budget and make that payroll next year and keep the lights on and the utilities and all that stuff next year. And regardless of what pay increase people get, whether it be $2 an hour or 4%, make no mistake, everybody wants, expects, and most deserve some kind of increase on an annual basis, year over year. And we've been fortunate enough to do that, and our records, our research indicates that those cost of living adjustments have outpaced inflation, at least for the last 4 years, maybe 5. But so it's not just about right now, but when it comes to paying for the sanitation operation, and make no mistake, payroll's always, in any operation, is the biggest expense. But then, and this is where I think I was guilty of it when I was on city council, because I didn't build budgets on an annual basis. I voted on them, I made amendments to them, but I didn't build on them. But the other piece of this fund, this operation, needs to be able to also buy equipment as needed. And, we were very fortunate with the last 2 Packer trucks we used ARPA funds. I mean, that was one-time money. Had that money not been available, and I don't want to besmirch Everett or the guys in the central garage, but we probably would have had trash trucks. Where's Bubba? We probably would have had trash trucks out of service a lot sooner than we did with the sanitation trucks. And I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses, but it's not just about today and this, it's next year and the year after and recapitalization. I mean, everything's getting more expensive, and nobody wants to pay higher rates. Nobody wants to, the reality of it is things ain't getting cheaper. And like I said at the onset, I've been guilty of it myself as a council person. And I made Eric tell you the truth. Why did we subsidize it? To try and stave off or mitigate rate increases. I sat at this table right there at budget hearings and did it twice. Did I not? And I was wrong. It was a mistake. One of many.
May I respectfully ask a question since?
Sure, go ahead.
My time
Ask a follow-up since you had some of your time taken up, please.
I just, as far as being taken advantage of, is the city of Vienna suing us because we're not taking their recyclables?
I've been sued a lot this week. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think my pal Mayor Emmerich has sued me yet. Rob, have you seen anything? Rob's a part-timer, assistant city attorney, but Vienna has not sued us as of yet.
I thought one of the lawyers that's prominent did that. And I just also want to say that the guys take everything, and they shouldn't have to take. I've taken pictures, and we had a situation with an alley.
Yeah, I think that's part of the biggest problem, and I'll reference one of the earlier speakers. I too have heard that Al Smith cut a deal with City Council 40 plus years ago saying, we'll take it all. I don't know that for a fact. I was probably like 7 or 8. And maybe that was what was necessary and appropriate, because I'm sure because the city had a trash service. They didn't start one, they had one, and it's my understanding, this is anecdotal, all right, I wasn't around, was why are we losing all this money? Well, because we're only picking up a third of the customers in the city. Well, he put a stop to it, and it's my understanding that is not sustainable for us, and quite frankly, it hasn't been for some time. It is a fairness issue with the employees that we have. I have a lot of respect for a lot of our sanitation folks as well. I probably have more respect and admiration for the handful of individuals who took advantage of the training opportunities that we set forth for them, put forth with them, that Jennifer worked diligently with, Everett encouraged them. I have probably more respect for those folks who took advantage of what was I think, a pretty good deal. And maybe obviously it wasn't enough, or we wouldn't have 20 vacancies in the department. But I think we've done a lot. And, you know, I used to watch a movie called The Lion King, and they said, "Did you knock me off that log?" Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's in the past. We're to the point. I mean, folks, you got 3 more years to make fun of me, throw things at me, accost me at Bob Evans. As long as you stay away from my mom, my girlfriend, and my favorite little puppy dog, I can take it. But we're just at a critical point here.
Thank you for allowing me to follow.
Thank you, Ms. Bowden. Next on the list is Julia Monroe.
So I have a few questions about your training program. Is that something they did during working hours, or is that something they had to do after doing their 10, 12-hour shift?
We both, if they had time, but we paid them overtime if they did it afterwards.
Because, I mean, after a 10, 12-hour day, most people of that job are pretty tired. Just trying to think
I
about
totally
it.
understand it. That's how I went to college. Worked 10, 12 hours a day and went to school and studied. I get
But
it.
I'm just saying, we could have done other things. We could have had a dedicated training period. We could have, clearly, several of you didn't know there was problems, and several of you knew there was. So clearly there wasn't communication. That was a problem. That's on leadership. That's not on our sanitation department. That's making sure information is given out to the right people.
Can I just correct you? I think we've all known this problem since this council has been seated. Thanks.
Oh, I'm
Continue.
sorry. I was talking about when they asked yes, no, yes, no.
That was in regards to the MRF.
Right, but that's still something that's under city purview.
Sure.
So we do have several solutions. If we knew commercial haulers were hauling that in, if you all were aware of that, you could have set a fee that could help offset some of that money. How many personnel meetings have occurred concerning this issue? I'm asking in the past 2 years, how many personnel meetings have we had where this issue's been discussed?
Go ahead, Ms. Brown.
City Council does not get into personnel. That is an administration. You're looking at the mayor and his staff.
Okay,
This
but I'm
council-
saying if we.
The only thing this council does, ma'am, is handle the budget. If they need to move money from this department to that department, that is our job, is to keep everybody in the budget and keep our budget balanced.
Go ahead, continue.
First thing, I wasn't being rude, and your tone was being rude. Just saying. So, personnel is personnel. We have a problem, how do we solve it? It's we come to the table and we do solutions. It should be meetings between our personnel committee and our leadership. That's how it works. That's basic human resources 101. That's basic. So we haven't had meetings. How do we advertise for a position? I'm just curious. Is it just on the city website?
We use Indeed.
Okay.
We use the city website.
I'm just asking
No,
that.
it's fine. So we post it on the website initially, which in turn gets posted on the Facebook page as well. We post through Indeed. We use Workforce West Virginia. We've participated in the Workforce West Virginia job hiring fairs as well. We've reached out to local rehab facilities and shared our job postings as well.
That's good.
Okay.
So here's my next question. My understanding is these kids off the street, correct? We have no off-street parking where I live. Only one side of the street does. So what happens if one of these trucks malfunction? Or what if they can't get in? Because when we have a church event, there's no parking on my street. If they have a big event, they take up the whole street. So how does that handle?
Well, waste management's required to have insurance, and so that's what it's for.
In addition, we talked about a bag not being in a can. They said it would get picked up. So I'm confident in their ability to provide pickup trash.
I have one
We've
more
gone
question.
over, so we'll let you
I was
continue.
interrupted by you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have one more question.
Sure.
My parents are older, they're disabled. they cannot haul a 96-gallon trash can to the street. What are we gonna do? Because I know under Mr. Fox, when he was our councilman, we had a problem of people coming in and dumping trash on a vacant lot. He got sanitation to come out and clean it up. So if we do have people dumping, how do we address that?
The dumping or the curbside exemption?
I can answer with regards to dumping. We haven't had our sanitation folks cleaning up dump areas or encampments for ever 5 years. We contracted out. I think I've said it publicly many times. Our folks, these sanitation folks, they were hired to take empty bags of trash or trash cans, not go out and hand pick up dirty diapers or whatever folks dump. So we've been contracting that out for at least 5 years. Would you not say? I'm looking for Mr. Reynolds. I mean, you've been involved in those budgets, so we don't use haven't used our sanitation folks for that type of service for cleaning up a lot where people dump trash for a long time.
I just see a concern of trash building up. That's my concern.
So waste management is here to do curbside pickup. They're not here to clean up piles of trash that people leave. That's the city's issue. The city take care of that. Okay, one form or another. There's in the contract or a provision where for a stated rate, waste management will bill us to do that, to go and pick up whatever excessive trash, and then they will bill us, which we in turn will bill the property.
Hey Ryan, do you remember how many bags of trash we picked up through the REAP program the last couple of years? In the thousands. Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Narone. Next on the list is Larry Reed.
Good evening. I didn't bring prepared remarks because I wasn't sure I was going to be speaking. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
My concern has been for years, many years, and it sounds like the ship has sailed. But my comment is our water bill is based on usage. Our electric bill is based on usage. Our gas bill is based on usage. But our trash bill has never been based on usage. And I think you all are aware, if you drive around Parkersburg, personally, my wife and I, we have one little bag of trash a week, that's it. I'm like Barbara Radiker. But you've all seen half of a dump truck load sitting in people's yards that the city has gathered up. So my comment is, if the ship has not completely sailed and it's reconsidered, perhaps the sanitation department and administration should consider we pay based on usage. That could supplement some income. My other thought is, if it's private hauler does it, or if the city does it, and you pay on what you put out, I'm afraid that the half a truckload piles of trash that I see cannot be picked up because you're only allowed to have one 96-gallon container. Where's that going to end up?
So again, that's part of, that's a city issue. It's not a waste management problem, okay? Because they're here to do curbside pickup, all right, which is the 96-gallon container, okay? Excessive trash in a lot or whatever.
No, individuals on the street. People put out half of a pickup load of
So,
trash.
and that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
That's why we have the bag limit with the additional fee imposed, okay? So that's a means to try and mitigate that. There'll be an adjustment period.
I'm sure.
But people, quite frankly, in this town, and I don't,
Stop me, I've said it.
need to make better decisions about how they accumulate and dispose of refuse.
I agree.
Period. So in my view, it's making an economic decision. Do I want to put this trash out here and get a bill, or do I want to make better decisions?
Well, if it's reconsidered, it should be based on usage, like our water bill, or gas bill, or electric bill.
And I think
I think, and I understand, and I don't
disagree. I think it's terribly difficult to quantify on it, because I can promise you, my trash is virtually the same 50 weeks a year. Occasionally, my little brother shows up for a week or 10 days, and I have a little bit of, I think it would be, I just can't logically think and how you go other than turning what's already an 8 or 10 hour proposition at full staff day into a 12 or 14 hour workday. Hang on a second, Larry's got a bunch of trash, you owe us an extra, I mean, and I think that's what the bag limits do. And, a couple of things. The bag limits work in a lot of jurisdictions. They work for Waste Management, they work for Rumpke and other providers, they work in multiple states. And if folks have extra trash, they should pay extra. Whether it be $3 for the bag, or quite frankly, if you're a high volume generator, you should buck up and pay $4.75 and
We
rent.
never have in the city.
No, we never have. That's what this contract is proposing, and folks would do. Those folks who generate more trash would pay more, albeit nominally more. But to your point, some of the clean outs and some of that stuff, that's got to stop. I mean, we've been eating that ugly biscuit for far too long.
Mr. Reed, we did take a little bit of your time with answering questions. You have anything else to add?
No, my concern is that the half of the pickup load that I see along City Street when people put the trash out, I'm afraid that a lot of that is going to end up not in a sanitary truck. It's going to end up somewhere. That's my concern.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Next on the list, I don't know if it's Nancy, but Miss Johnson or Mr. Johnson here. Come on to the mic, please.
I am property management, and
Can you pull the mic down? Just and probably have to talk pretty close into it.
can you hear me? Can you hear me? And we pay the trash for,
No, we can't. You're going to have to talk pretty much directly into it.
we pay the trash for the properties. For a lot of, because tenants have enough on them as it is. But we also do that so that there's not an exorbitant amount of trash on the properties. With the rates and the added fees with waste management is going to add, we will have to pass that on to tenants. Tenants will not pay those fees. And I say that because they don't see trash as an issue because we pay it, but once they have to start paying it, it's going to pile up. And we have a lot of rentals in Parkersburg that landlords do pay the sanitation. That will stop. And I have seen it at properties where they expect the tenants are paying it. It piles up. It creates a pest control issue for our properties that are neighboring these properties. So, and not to beat up on waste management, but we had waste management for 3 months. The fees, the additional fees were exorbitant. It took us forever to just try and get somebody to fight those fees. And here's my other thing. If waste management or another company can add these fees, why can't the city of Parkersburg?
I guess my first thing would be, one of the primary reason why I'm supportive, and I think Eric would agree, and there's been a few folks on council initially had concerns. I think one of the reasons why we're proposing that we maintain the billing is to make sure the trash gets picked up. So regardless of whether the bill's paid, Waste Management under this proposal would bill the city for every unit. The city would pay the bill. The property owner, the tenant, whoever's paying the trash bill, pays the city. If they don't pay their bill, their trash is still gonna get picked up like it has for the last 40 some odd years at least, regardless of payment. And then it's our responsibility for collection, service, judgment, all that kind of stuff. So that's, primarily why I think it's important that we keep the billing. But make no mistake, the lady previously, I forget who it was, is right. We can just let everybody go out and get their trash picked up with whoever they want. The problem that I see that could happen, and probably would happen, is folks that don't pay their bill. If you got a private agreement with Waste Management, I'll put them on the spot and I don't pay my bill for 3 months. You picking up my trash? Rumpke, you picking up my trash if I don't pay my bill for 3 months? And that's why I think it's important that we keep it in-house. But we can certainly do it the other way. I think it creates another problem. There's a section of state code that says every property owner, every resident business, every building has to subscribe, pay for trash. And if you don't, you're subject to fines. I think Solid Waste Authority is currently tasked with statutory authority to enforce that. I don't believe, I'm gonna put Rob on the spot, have you ever seen anything that gives the city the right to do that with that? I mean, we could possibly draft an ordinance, but that is certainly an option. I am not particularly in favor of that because I do have concerns. I know how many people don't pay their bill now and we still pick up their trash. If you don't pay your bill under that system, they're not gonna pick up your trash. And they shouldn't. I mean, I'm not advocating that they should because it's not free. Somebody's gotta pay for it, so.
Ms. Johnson, we took up some of your time with responses, so if you have anything else, please proceed.
I think that because you've had such a huge turnout on this, and I understand that you have probably an accountant in the background saying, we're losing money in the sanitation department. I would strongly encourage you, give it a year, revamp the sanitation department, see where you can go in a year. If in a year you're still losing money and you still don't have an employee, then change it. But you're not giving people enough time to really figure out another alternative. And I think that it is a huge trust issue at this point. And I have to be honest with you, I don't think you realize the issue you're gonna have from rentals. And we have a very large amount of rentals in Parkersburg. And I hear what you're saying, that we're just not gonna, we're gonna come after you, what's gonna happen is code enforcement is gonna come after people. But you're still gonna be in the same boat. You're not gonna get the bill paid. Right now, you get the bill paid because you pay it. I mean, that to me is a plus for the city of Parkersburg. So I would strongly encourage you, give it a year. You're not gonna go bankrupt in that year, but it just shows that you are really trying to work it out, revamp it, see where you go from there. That's it.
Thanks, Ms. Johnson. We're down to our last speaker. Last on the list here is Carrie Tallarico.
Okay, make sure I'm not having issues. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. All right. My first question, I have not heard answered yet, and what's gonna happen with the sanitation employees?
So at the execution of the contract, okay, qualified employees will be given the opportunity to interview with the waste management.
What is qualified?
I can't answer that. It's their company policy, but if they can answer it, if you can,
Oh, you mean qualified for waste management
yeah.
to transfer?
Yeah, they have to meet their minimum hiring standards, okay? And then if they take the job, they'll receive a severance payment from the city equal to their salary through the end of this fiscal year, which is June 30th, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then, or if they decide to leave employment, they'll still get a severance payment whether they go to waste management or not, okay? However, initially, or they will be first offered any position within the city that to fill, okay? That they're qualified to fill. So if there's a position, they can fill it, they'll be offered that position. So they can stay employed with the city.
So they'll have first option to that position for the city beyond just like a regular person coming to apply?
Again, there's not many, there's only 5.
I know.
And so there are opportunities for them at the city. Okay, but if they stay at the city, and some of them may want to, due to their years of service in the pension plan, whatever. But if they decide to go to waste management or some other job, they will receive a severance payment equal to their salary through the end of this fiscal year.
Okay. My next question was about the recycling with Rumpke. I thought I understood it one way, and then I heard somebody say something, and I just want to ask for clarity purposes. The 15, I don't know the exact word, charge, is that bi-weekly charge, or is that a monthly charge for the 15?
1553 is what or 1525 is what Rumpke is going to charge per
month. Okay. And my, did I read it wrong, or do you have to pay the first 6 months up front? Did I read that correctly? Yes. Yeah, it's the first 6 months have to be paid up front in order to start the service.
Yes.
Okay. My next question is, assuming all of this goes through, what is going to happen to the recycling center?
The operations will cease.
Well, I know, but there's a building there. Like, what's gonna happen with
No, I
it? If there's been votes.
For council to make, we could always use space, we got thousands of dollars.
We've got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment that we park outside on a regular basis. I'm sure Everett and some of his folks would love to get that stuff inside, but I think that's quite frankly just a discussion and a decision that would have to be made down the road.
Okay, and understanding the billing clarity, like I said, I'm just asking some of these for real clarity. So we'll pay our trash service through the city. The city will take care of with waste management, correct? Assuming all this goes through.
Correct.
Okay, we pay Rumpke separate, correct?
And that hasn't been determined yet.
Okay, so that's not determined yet. And my next question is, did I see where, to rent the extra cart, thank you, for waste management, as a mom of 7, I am that person who, yes, I have four trash cans full. To rent that, is that something we would then pay to you guys, or do we have to address the extra rental separate?
That's directly to waste management.
Okay.
So the city is billing and will collect for regular monthly trash pickup. Okay? And anything extra beyond that is dealt with waste management.
Okay, can I ask one more?
One more, and I think we are gonna take a 5-minute break, but go ahead.
Okay, good. So my last question, okay, if someone does not pay their bill, for trash, and this contract is through, is it the city? Will waste management still pick up and the city pay? Or how, I'm trying to make sure I understand that.
Just like it is now.
Okay, now, we lost money on with people not paying their bills, so how does that change?
So the city, okay, the city has an amount, this is business, this isn't the city, okay, this is business. You bill X amount and you receive Y amount, okay? And at the end of the day, you must be able to bill an amount that realizes enough cash in hand to pay the bills, okay? Now, some people don't pay, and we file the judgments, we collect on property transfers, things like that. Some people wait that they pay every 3 or 4 months. They just pay every 3 or 4 months. I can't explain that. I pay my bill monthly, whatever, but some people, they're just like, I think I'll get right down, pay my bill. I can't remember last time I did it. People have weird habits. I can't explain that, but it's how it goes. But I bill $200 and some thousand a month for sanitation, and I don't receive all of that within 30 days. I don't. Okay, we receive about 90% of it within 30 days. Okay, the rest of it we have to work for, or people come in and pay every random interval. Okay, so to answer your question, we have to bill an amount that will realize us enough cash to pay the bill. And I might add that there's a, we're only allowed to bill so much. We can only bill 110% of what the cost is. Okay, so keep that in mind as well, and that's the threshold that we go by.
Ms. Delarica, thank you. We've come to the end of the public meeting and public discussion portion. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
We have a motion, we got a second? We're adjourned. We're going to be taking a 5 or 10 minute break. Everybody stretch your legs, go to the bathroom, and we'll return for our special council meeting.
It's packed in here just to show you guys how many people there are. It is absolutely packed in here. Alright, so we're here for this city council meeting, and so far it's been pretty orderly for the most part. People are just, they want to know why there's a change, and it seems like the city just doesn't want to pay the inflated rates for the coming years, but if you start putting it on the company individually to charge the rates, then that's going to be a problem too, because like somebody brought up, there are a lot of rental properties out here, and how are those people all going to pay on time? I think basically the city just doesn't want to deal with it. They just want the company to handle it, whatever company that is my understanding. So we'll go back in and we'll see what else is discussed here.
I'd like to call to order this January 6th special meeting of City Council. Connie, the roll, please. Let's backtrack. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to call this special meeting for January 6th of Parkersburg City Council to order. Madam Clerk, the roll call, please.
Mr. McCready? Here. Ms. Cool? Here. Mr. Brown?
Present.
Ms. Tuck? Here. Mr. Huffman? Mr. Reynolds?
Present.
Mr. Rexroad?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Borkowski?
Here. Council, you've received minutes from the December 9 and December 16 meeting. Is there any changes or corrections?
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds?
move to adopt the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Cool?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck?
Yes.
Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroad?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Borkowski?
Yes. We're down to reports from standing or special committees. Do we have any reports from standing or special committees? Hearing none, we'll move on to our public forum. We have a public forum that's going to be 40 minutes in length, 4 minutes for each speaker. Connie has the list. Connie, would you call our first speaker, please?
Yes, sir. The first one, I'm not sure, is it Peterson? Very first one to sign up. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Hi guys. So, my name is Casey Petrin, and I feel like most of you know me at this point. My comments tonight are specific to the sanitation and recycling agreements before you and the defined service limits, pricing structure, and long-term impact on residents. Sanitation is not an optional service. It is a public health function. When a city steps away from providing basic waste collection as a municipal responsibility, it stops acting like a community and starts acting like a billing department. The contracts before you do exactly that. They take a universal public service and turn it into a metered system. One cart, strict limits, and extra fees, where families are expected to make their lives smaller to fit a contract. That matters, because cities do not grow by nickel and diming the people raising the next generation here. Under the proposed solid waste agreement, households are restricted to one 96-gallon cart with additional charges per bag. For families with children, that is not a reasonable standard. It is a penalty. Diapers, school waste, food packaging, and daily household trash don't disappear because a contract says that they should. To put this in concrete terms, a 96-gallon cart holds roughly 3 standard trash bags. I'm a mother of 4 young children. And we would need that by Wednesday, every week, guaranteed. And I'm thankful. My family can absorb that cost. I'm grateful for that. However, most families in our area will not be able to do so comfortably. Under this contract, that ordinary reality becomes an added fee every single time, every month. Right now, residents pay $22 a month for unlimited pickup. This amendment replaces that certainty with unpredictability. Families will either pay more immediately or spend every week worrying about whether their trash fits inside a plastic container. That is not efficiency, that is stress baked into policy. And when you separate recycling into an optional subscription-based service, you remove the easiest path families have to reduce waste in the first place. Trash becomes the default, recycling becomes a luxury. And the system rewards exactly the outcome we say we don't want. Council, these amendments do more than outsourced labor. They redefine sanitation from a shared public responsibility into an individual burden. For young families deciding whether Parkersburg is a place to build a life, raise children, and invest long-term, this decision sends a clear message. Cities that weaken public services in the name of short-term savings do not become more attractive. They become harder to choose. I urge you to reject any amendment that raises immediate costs for families or trades long-term community health for short-term convenience. Because a city that makes it harder for families to manage basic sanitation is not planning for growth, it is planning for decline. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Kathy Nichols, followed by Lisa Prince.
I'm sure you received many calls on the subject of the sanitation department. How many were for privatizing this service? I believe most of council have already decided what to do. But what is this based on? It would be good to stop and look at everything. What will happen in 5 years? Right now, there is only one contract on the table. In 5 years, and the contract expires, what is next? What will the city have? They will only have what the next contractor has to offer. There will be a monopoly. There will be no recourse but to accept what is offered. The city will have no equipment to fall back on. Right now, you have been told how much is being lost in the sanitation department. There have been others who have run numbers also. The outcome is very different. I urge council to hire an outside agency with open eyes to look at the numbers. And adding to what was said tonight, give it another year to see what happens. My great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, 2 of my 3 children, 6 of my 9 grandchildren live here, 6 generations. As of now, I would urge my grandchildren to move and live somewhere else. The city of Parkersburg continues to forget that it is the people who make the city what it is. Listen to the people.
Thank you.
Alicia Prince, followed by Carrie Calamico.
Hi, Elisa Prince, I'm back. I'm still looking at the bids. I get they didn't break them out. Bottom line is Rumpke, and I don't work for Rumpke, they're privately held. It's 1976 plus the billing fee from the city. It's still under what the city charges us currently now at $22 a month. You get recycling and trash service. We have the ability at $15 a month plus the trash is $32. I think that's very unattainable for most people, honestly. With the recycling at 1976 included, we can make more room in our single trash cans.
Thank you.
Carrie Calamico, followed by Trish Pritchard.
All right. As you decide whether to change or keep the current sanitation contracts and everything that's going on, I ask you to consider the impact these decisions have on people living on fixed incomes. In West Virginia, nearly 500,000 residents rely on Social Security. My mother is one of them. She is disabled and lives on fixed income. So I'm going to disclose some numbers. Her monthly income, with her current raise, is $1,013. Here's how that breaks down. $301 for rent, $169 for electric, $30 for gas, $140 for insurance, that's car, renters, and life, trying to be responsible. $43 for her phone, TV, internet, $50, gasoline for her car, $60, hygiene, household supplies such as, dish soap, laundry soap, those kind of things, $100 per month. She does receive assistance. She receives SNAP benefits, $193 in the winter months, and $178 on the rest of the year. But even with that assistance, she is left with about $120 per month. That remaining amount must cover emergencies, car repairs, supplemental food for her medically necessary diet. It is also important to note that her one-bedroom apartment is significantly lower than fair market value. Without that, her situation would be much worse. Additionally, I personally cover her water, police, fire, sanitation fees to help her stay afloat. With recent increases and changes to utilities and water raises, and I know water raise, prices raise. And then sanitation, and looking at this again, I just want to say that these costs add up quickly for those who have no flexibility in their income. So I urge you to keep residents on fixed incomes in mind as you make these decisions, because even small increases can have serious consequences. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trish Pritchard, followed by Brian Hayden.
Sanitation should not be controversial, for heaven's sakes. Trash and recycling are basic services. And when they fail, it's not just inconvenient, it erodes public trust. The reason sanitation has become such a major issue is not because residents expect too much, it's because our system's been allowed to drift and degrade for years without transparency, accountability, or any long-term planning. I know I talked about process earlier. I'd like to talk about possible solutions. I think the first thing that could happen if we take the time to do it, and we could take the time to do it if we make some changes in our current sanitation. I mean, several significant changes would happen very quickly if we were contracting the services out. And you could take and apply some of those same changes to lighten the burden on our current sanitation system. Apply some rules. Adopt rules, bag limits, have special bulk days, that kind of thing. Some practical solutions that would ease the burden to allow some time to analyze the problem, do some root cause analysis, make sure we're fixing the right problems, publish those results. That helps build the trust. In fact, you can even have people involved, some subject matter experts, to help identify the problems. Analyze those problems, and then analyze the finances. Take a look at the last 5 years. Make sure that everybody understands where the money came in, where it went, so we have a really good financial handle on this, especially with the recycling relative to the commercial recycling opportunities that were lost for the past 30 years. Identify that, be very clear, be very transparent. Make sure that those results are published, and everybody has a chance to look at them and understand them. Make sure we understand what it really costs. Make sure the public understands what the recycling really costs, what services they get, options available, options considered. Separate the two, the recycling and the trash, into separate cost centers to get a handle on the cost. Publish the results of the financials. And then problem solve. Take a look at solutions. And when the situation has stabilized and you have a good idea of what the run rate is for the sanitation department, then when you bid a contract, you can have an apples to apples comparison. Right now, we have a sanitation department in crisis that has, from what I've seen, there's no comparison at all. Apples to apples. So that would, at least by doing that and being transparent, would help to build trust in the decision-making process and give us a chance at a more successful result. And I highly recommend that any changes, that there's a good transition plan that takes into account communications, all those standard processes as you make any change in an organization. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Hayden, followed by Jamie McCormick.
Brian Hayden, 631st Street. Good evening. As consideration is given tonight to advancing Ordinance 1 and 2 to a second reading, please understand that comfort was never the point. Doing the right thing is not a matter of needing permission. It is the hard work of making a difference for the greater good of our city. The need for our tax dollars to be used for essential services is the core mission of the government. The expression, government should only do that which the individual cannot do for themselves, fundamentally divides the population between those that have the means and the rest of us. That excuse is always the start of language that blames people for using more than their fair share. This inevitably leads to placing judgment over logic. It frames the conversation in terms of we should not have to support certain people. City sanitation, including recycling, is an essential service. Unlike streets, parks, fire departments, police departments, and flood walls, trash is used by everyone every day of the week. However, just like the other city services, some use it more than others. Standing in judgment of those that abuse the system is something that I was taught as a child. Now, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. I overcame bias, prejudice, and disrespect for others. I learned that the greater good of a community is not a convenience. It is not an option. It is a calling. The greater good of our city is not a line item on a ledger sheet. It is an obligation. The protection of our neighborhoods is not an argument over who should have to pay for it, but a matter of those who understand the concept, to each according to their need, from each according to their ability. Change is not just possible, it is essential.
Thank you.
Jamie McCormick, followed by Dee Prince.
Council, Jamie McCormick, District 9. What's happening with our sanitation system didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen by accident. Over a year ago, sanitation workers warned this council they were understaffed and underpaid. They asked for help, and they were dismissed. Now, we've lost experienced workers, they asked for help, they were dismissed. Now we've lost experienced workers, trash pickup is inconsistent, and recycle is gone. Also, I would like to mention that they were also accused of lying, and they were told that they weren't telling the truth about what they were making hourly. Residents are being asked now to pay the price for leadership decisions that failed to act when it mattered. This is not a worker problem or a resident problem, it's a leadership problem. Yep. Trash collection is a basic public service. It's a public health and dignity. This crisis was avoidable. Own the decisions that led us here and fix them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dee Prince. I believe the last one is Mr. Dunn.
Dee Prince, District 4. When I do recognize that our party train of sanitation department is over, and I sure will miss that party, because I have personally enjoyed it with all that they do and unlimited pickup. So with the bids, with some regret, so I, being left-handed, am a visual person. So I started a checklist of Rumpke Waste Management. You know, how much money things are gonna cost, what's the size of the can. So in September, we had Rumpke with trash and recycling. Yes, I get it, they didn't break it out. 1976, Waste Management, trash and recycling, they broke it out $22. So you have then Waste Management additional bag fee. Rumpke said no. So you go down through the line, bulky items is a big issue with me, mainly because Waste Management says that they won't pick up live Christmas trees. And then the city won't mulch them anymore, so not really sure what to do, other than, you know, maybe take it to a vacant lot. So even the bulky items are 2 items per week for Rumpke, once a month for Waste Management. If you look at a simple chart with the check marks being who kind of won that column, it got down to Rumpke. And in the previous meeting, I understand a new cycle bids, not sure why, don't know if I want to know why. So then, obviously, we're awarding the trash to Waste Management, and maybe recycling if we get 900 people for $15. So now we're at $32, when previously we were at 1976 or $22 for both. So I am confused how we've gotten to the second set of bids. Why we aren't looking at what we had previously, and the, you know, given what each can do for us as residents, what we're getting. And I don't like hearing that we're paying less, because the end of that sentence is we are getting less. So I get we are paying less. I am not a child here, but we are paying less and getting less. And that's a concern for me. I do believe in recycling, not everybody does it. I don't mind paying a little bit more for recycling to have it benefit the entire community. But, so with the columns, Rumpke did perform superior over Waste Management. So I do have a concern with what we're actually doing here. Thank you.
Thank you.
The last one is Wayne Dunn.
I'm Wayne Dunn with the Solid Waste Authority, and I want to thank you all for your efforts to make a better future. We have a lot of decisions to make, and sometimes we don't agree, but that's the process. And in a democracy, we have to have people involved, people with knowledge, and people who speak up and are here. Thank you all for being here. This is democracy. Now, we have had a very successful recycling program. Can you hear me okay? We've had a very successful recycling program over many decades. We've learned from it. We've learned positive things and negative things. Apparently, there are some problems right now. One of them happens to be finances. But I know I've spent 2 years talking to people at the solid waste, or at the recycling center, and the only complaint I really hear is they don't make enough to live on. And I sympathize with them. They told me what they make. It's no wonder we're losing them. We can't hire them. Let's keep that in mind. We had a lot of money that came in here from the federal government a few years ago. We should be taking care of the people who work for the city.
Yeah.
And we should also pay them enough so they can have a family. Affordably.
Yeah, because Waste Management.
Hey, ma'am, can you, no comments from the gallery, thank
We
you.
in the Solid Waste Authority have sent out this letter to everyone, including all the municipalities, the cities in the county, And we would like to have a meeting with you. Everyone should be involved. In order, and before a decision is made, we should have the input from all of the people involved. If we can get together the city's representatives and work out something, if you decide that you can't keep the recycling center open, fine. After the information is in, then the decision should be made. In the meantime, I hope that you will delay the decision of the contract until you have more information. I sympathize with your position, but I think perhaps if we have all the municipalities here, the cities in this county, input, there may be enough information to at least make a better decision. And if you have to make a decision, fine. So I would just recommend that you do delay, table this motion that apparently is up, and delay it until more information is available. And the meeting will be coming up in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the last one, sir.
Okay, we'll end public comments. Do we have a message from the executive?
I'll try and be brief. I appreciate Dr. Dunn's comments, and I did receive that letter late in the day on December 31st. I share your sentiment that everybody in the community should have a say in it, but I also believe that if we're going to continue with the community recycling, particularly material recovery facility, that it shouldn't be just the ratepayers and taxpayers of Parkersburg who pay for it. So I hope, I didn't see where he went to. Where did Dr. Dunn go? Sorry, Doc. I hope that we can have a productive and salubrious discussion that includes the Parkersburg folks not being the only ones with skin in the game, because that, I think somebody earlier said it's the envy of the state of West Virginia. Everywhere I go, I assure you there are folks who sit in these chairs across the state who are not envious of the operating deficits that facility has. And I'm not trying to be smug with you. You and I have differed on a lot of things over the years. We've always gotten along pretty well. But I too look forward to a long-term solution where everybody in a community that uses a facility of that nature has some skin in the game. I appreciate your comments on that. I want to talk just briefly about the comments that I've made about why the committee made the election that they did. And I saved my notes from that, and I think a lot of it's been touched on, so I'm going to ask you to bear with me. I'm going to try and recollect my shorthand and my thought process from 2.5 months ago. And I'm going to go by one. My notes with regards to waste management, and a lot of this is kind of perfunctory stuff. They're the largest private solid waste hauler in Wood County, maybe the world. They provide reliable customer service, customer focus. I thought their complaint resolution components were pretty robust. I was impressed with that. And I think here's where at least my input on the scoring came in. The price was attractive to the point on trash only. I think what I've learned through this is that recycling is cost prohibitive, and it's particularly, I wrote here, unfair for those who don't participate. Waste management was clear that those eligible employees that were qualified, that they would work locally, that they would have to, if they were transitioned over to waste management, should an agreement be reached, that they would be working in, stationed in Wood County. Rates could be stable, if not reduced, for the first 3 years, if not the duration. And then this is where I think, for me, I really put waste management in my mind as a more logical solution. Their proposal limited bulky goods and provided back limits. And I think there's been a lot of, consternation, a lot of, but there's a lot of folks that
are categorically opposed to this who agree that we picked up too much trash with no real mechanism for limiting it for a long time. Now, we do have in our current ordinance an excessive trash component, and we billed for that. There was a gentleman up at the mic during the public hearing who talked about getting a bill, and I don't know if he paid that bill or not. I mean, if he did, great, but I can assure you, we did a lot of those back in 18, 19, and 20. Where'd Eric go? Most of those bills went unpaid, did they not? I mean, I can think of one in particular that we billed for excessive trash on the regular and never got any remuneration. Not that we didn't try. I mean, you know, we sought judgments and magistrate court actions. But the bulky goods and bag limits to me were, I think, important, and I think that if for the community's sake, we need to transition to just a change in behaviors when it comes to those folks who put out, I think it was Mr. Reed who said, half a dump truck load. I believed, and I think those of you, Mr. Brown, Mr. Bukowski, other members of the administration were there. I thought we talked a lot about occasional bag limits. I'm looking at the waste management guys. I think you were both there. We asked the question about, you know, at what point does the extra bag fee, and you guys were very clear that you use moderation when it comes to occasional extra bags versus abuse. And I thought that your explanation was logical and reasonable with regards to that. The notes at the time, I wrote about the billing for the extra. I made a note here that we could vet that when we got to a final negotiated contract. And that was my first recollection in my mind of looking at, you know, those folks, the subscription-based recycling component. I'll just go through my notes on Rumpke from, I believe this meeting was on 10/14, that's at least the date I wrote down. If I don't have a date on my watch, I sometimes get it wrong. Again, they're multi-jurisdiction experienced provider. The pricing is competitive in years 1 through 3. And this is, I think, where I started with my own, in my mind, with my input on the scoring, my bifurcation from waste management to waste management and Rumpke separately. Status quo with regards to the level of service, volume, bulky goods, and yard waste. I wrote myself a question, which I do from time to time. Is status quo the best thing for Parkersburg long term? I don't believe it is. I think we talked a little bit about that during the public hearing, that there was supposedly a deal struck to get the mandatory everybody go with the city service in the 80s, when I think it was the early 80s. And quite frankly, I think that probably worked pretty well, and it certainly was a benefit. I mean, there's been folks who've admittedly say, I put out a lot of trash. For those folks that did that, I think it was a pretty good deal. I mean, I can remember my first few years as mayor getting phone calls. How do you guys pick up your trash at such a low rate? Well, you know, we number one, it's how do you get such a low rate? First thing I said, well, it's government run, and we talked about the extra money that we pumped in at the time, and that was quite frankly prior to establishing the state fund. I made a note here: behavior modification and adjustment to transition long term should be the best thing for Parkersburg. 100% fee versus participation of the 20 to 30% that use that actually chose to recycle. I will tell you this, and I think this is something that I will commend Rumpke on. They seem to have a really good plan for the promotion of recycling. They have a lot of good materials. They did that. And then my last note was with regard to personnel retention was that in my mind, and I don't want to, there's guys from Rumpke here who I've gotten to know, nothing personal. I did not feel that was true local employment opportunity because of the location of the, I think they talked about Wellston and High. So those were my notes on it. I think most of everything else, my comments been talked about. I will quickly talk about, there's been some discussion, a couple of different folks on city council asked me, You know, Mayor, what would it cost us to recapitalize and not have to use as many people or commercial driver's license folks? So, did some rough calculations, and Everett helped me with dig up some of this information, but I'm gonna call it a side loader truck, grabs the big carts. I don't know if that's the right term. I think everybody uses their own stuff. We estimate that we would, of course, that would require fewer employees, which might help some with the labor shortage component, the workforce component. But we estimate conservatively $2.25 million up front in capital costs, because we don't have those kind of trucks now. Everett and I talked about that 4 years ago or so, and quite frankly, we had different folks in leadership at the time, and I'm not saying I was for it or against it, but it was made clear to me by the individual running the department at that time that that was not necessary, nor was it appropriate. Non-required CDL trucks. So there are, we get into some industry terms here, the trash and recycling guys will recognize this. The 26,000 pound packer truck, they still make them. We ran them for years here in Parkersburg. That's the minimum requirement that doesn't require a commercial driver's license. We estimate that we would need 8 of those trucks at roughly $2.6 million. We would probably at that point still need 18 to 22 employees. And then the last one was certainly the cheapest, but was to just purchase pickup trucks and compacting trailers, which I think the city, folks in here older than me, the city runs compacting trailers back in the day. Does anybody remember? I don't know. But we think those would be about, we would need, you know, we could purchase those total with pickups to pull them and trucks for about $750,000 total, but we think we would need 10 of those. So as the trash trucks have gotten bigger, you know, we were exempt from that commercial driver's license mandate from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration up until February of 22, as was all government. I think if you ask folks in highways, they've dealt with some of the same stuff. I just want to share briefly some of our tonnages. Average monthly tonnage in calendar year 2022 was 1,233 tons a month. It went down in 23 to 1,210 tons per month on average. It went down again in 24 to 1,182 tons, and then it went back up in the first 7 months of this year, 1,249. So I'm not sure. I just wanted to share that. I think that would be part of the reboot, would be to look at how we provide the service. But those are expenses that, quite frankly, we don't have $2.2 million in our sanitation fund to recapitalize at this point. And that's some of the things I alluded to. So I think most of everything else, I think I've made my position clear. I think I've accepted some responsibility. I understand that it's controversial, obviously, and I do appreciate the folks being passionate about the community things, but I think in the end, like I said before, I think I'm not going to rehash everything, but time for kicking the can down the road is past us. I think we're going to be looking at some serious crisis points if we delay much longer. It's going to take 45 to 60 days, somewhere in there, to execute a contract if it does pass. But I encourage council to for sure at least adopt the solid waste contract on first reading. That's all you're doing tonight is first reading. The last thing I'll leave with, you know, we talked about proposed rate reductions, some of those other components. I think the severance component is more than fair. And I think particularly, you know, there are 5 employees who, if they want to stay within the city, we have jobs. I'm looking at Jennifer now. You know, one of those guys interviewed for a job in the street department. He was not selected for another employee, if I'm not mistaken. But I think we can find a place for all those people. There are 2 individuals who do not possess a commercial driver's license, so their job placement might be something. I know we have a caretaker's position. I mean, we've got positions open. Jennifer, we're not going to use anybody's name. Does the one individual not have a driver's license at all?
Correct.
That one will be the one that we may have to get the most creative with finding them something because most every other position, particularly in the public works, requires you to operate a motor vehicle at some point, so, I think I'll just, I'll shut up now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Madam Clerk, will you read item 1 on first reading, please?
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Ms. Tuck.
I would like to just make mention that you offered time for me to ask questions of Waste Management and Rumpke, and I can do that after we read the ordinance, but I wanted to ask those questions before we voted on it.
I believe we'll need a first and a second to bring it to the table, and then there can be discussion on that. So I'm going to ask Madam Clerk to read the ordinance on first reading. If we have a first and a second, then you may have a discussion on it and ask questions.
Thank you.
An ordinance to consider the municipal waste collection agreement between the City of Parkersburg and Waste Management of West Virginia, Incorporated, and authorizing and directing the mayor to execute the same on behalf of the City of Parkersburg.
Mr. President,
Ms. Cool.
have a motion, the ordinance be advanced to second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Floor is now open for discussion, questions, comments.
Thank you. I would just like to thank the people that put the resolution in place so that public and council could have time for questions. I have 4 for Waste Management and 3 for Rumpke. And I think what I'll do is I'll just ask the questions within my time limit and then allow you time to respond to those. Is that okay?
Could we take it piecemeal, maybe ask questions of one and then they can come to the mic and so everybody can hear?
Perfect.
Okay, so you, whichever one you prefer.
I'll start with Waste Management.
Perfect.
Since we
Gentlemen, would you mind coming to the mic? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the work you've put into making the proposal. One of my first question was that we were able to get a copy of the proposal from October, but I did not get a copy of the December proposal. We got a copy of the contract, but not of the proposal itself. And in that, there was an item referred to as the Evergreen Fund, and in your first proposal, you had that as a bid exception. You did not think it was necessary. In the contract, it says that you are accepting that. In the first proposal, you said you wouldn't. So I don't have a copy of your second proposal. So I guess I'm just going to list my questions, and then you can answer them in any order you like. So the whole question about the Evergreen Fund would be great. I would love to get a copy of the proposal itself for just the solid waste. I have a copy of both, but we don't have a copy of the proposal for just the solid waste. So if we could get a copy of that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Giles.
To be clear, there's only one proposal. There's only one.
That can't be correct.
That is correct. What you're referring to as the second is a contract that was negotiated based on the proposal that we received. Okay, there's only one
Okay, so
proposal.
let me amend my question then, because the original proposal was for solid waste and recycling. So the contract, was it an amendment? Did you resubmit the bid, or were you asked to submit a new proposal?
Mr. Giles.
Ms. Tuck, if I can, this is more best directed to me. Okay, the way that we submitted that RFP, all right, we include language and we ask for quotes on this line of service, this line of service. We reserve the right to accept or reject any piece of that, for whatever reason, okay? So I think you're looking for, or trying to reconcile ambiguity there. We did not accept the recycling portion of that. That is not in this contract because we rejected it, the recycling piece, and we have every right to do so.
Sure.
And then The other piece of that is, we negotiated this contract, okay, and I'm not entirely sure about the evergreen count in your proposal, but we demanded that it be in there. The city did. And they agreed.
That's correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, that was, again, I thought the request for proposal was for the both, and you're saying that you took out the portion that was related to recycling and just changed it to solid waste only.
Correct.
Okay. My second question is, do you have a phone number? I mean, I saw all the chat lines and the automated everything, but I didn't see a phone number for calls. And you do have a dedicated phone line to take complaints and.
Yes, our call center is phone number with prompts to get to a live agent. Obviously, with the advancements in technology, you know, there's a lot of online options along with a dedicated website for the city of Parkersburg and its residents with their own specific URL. It's a good one-stop shop, but for folks that like to call and speak to a live agent, we do have a phone number with prompts to get to a live representative in the United States to speak with.
Okay. I know sometimes I go through prompt,
Yeah,
prompt,
absolutely.
and I never get to a person, but I just wanted to double check that. And then, the other thing, didn't get the proposal. Okay, so, when were you notified of the decision to submit for, solid waste?
Mr. Giles?
Ms. Tuck, again, there was no resubmission. We rejected the recycling component of that proposal.
Okay,
And accepted only the solid waste component.
Okay, so when did we offer the contract for solid waste only?
After the committee met, and I might get this date wrong, but it was on or around October 19th-ish. It was a Friday that I called Waste Management and informed them that we would be seeking to negotiate a contract with them based on their proposal for solid waste only.
Okay, and that was like the day of the reading of the contract, and that was the 18th, 19th of October? No, I mean, when the bids were read on October.
You may be right on that. I can search my email here and give you an exact date. If you want to follow up with a question as I'm looking for that, go ahead.
Yeah, all I'm trying to say is, it seems to me that, okay, I get it. You can offer the contract to whoever you want, but it seemed to me that Rumpke had given the lower bid, and they had given a bid for both solid waste, recycling once a week and recycling twice a week. And then there was a decision to seek solid waste only. So that's what I'm hearing, right?
Yes.
And then immediately after opening that bid, you went right into the contract with Waste Management?
I'm sorry?
Right after opening the bid, you went right into the contract with Waste Management?
No.
You went into negotiating for the contract?
No, we evaluated it.
Okay.
We evaluated each proposal and the team met, the evaluation team met and scored the proposals, which is in your packet, on, hang on, I'm pulling. I'll tell you that exact date.
I'm trying to get a timeline of how we went from what to what to what. That's my only purpose of the question.
Okay, well, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Are you looking for the date that we met and interviewed both firms?
Yeah, because.
October 16th is the date we met as the committee to interview both firms that submitted proposals from the RFP.
That's correct.
October 16th.
October 16th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think it was the 17th, then, October 17th, after we scored those proposals, that we notified Waste Management informally by a phone call on that Friday, and then formally that following Monday by letter. Now, that was weeks after we opened these bids. That was weeks after we opened the bids.
Okay. I'm just trying to establish it.
So, whatever the date was that we opened the bids, sometime in,
That might have been September.
it may have been late September, early October-ish. Okay, we evaluated the bids, we read them independently, when we came together, we discussed them, we scored them on October the 16th, and then we made a decision on October 16th to award and negotiate a contract with Waste Management for solid waste only.
Okay. Thank you. I was like, thank you. I think that explains it. Okay. Yeah, I guess one other question was just, in terms of, the routes that we currently have, there's a number of alleys that are narrow streets, people have steep hill signs, they can't put their, trash cans curbside. So, the one-armed guys probably won't fit on some of these smaller roads. Are you gonna require, curbside, or there's parked cars and access might be a problem?
So likewise to what you currently do, we have smaller trucks for the alleys as well. So that's how we solve.
Okay.
I would also add that a handful of our drivers were actually former city of Parkersburg sanitation workers, so they're also familiar with the routes. Many of our employees that were all on site live in the city.
Okay. Thank you very much. That answers my question.
Mr. President, Mr. Burkowski, if I can.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor, and then you, Mr. Rexroth.
I'm pretty sure, and Roger, Mr. Brown concurred, we met with the two providers after the RFP on 14 October. Everybody took their notes home, and we came back and did the scoring on the 16th of October, and which was a Thursday. Eric, is that accurate? And then you made your communication on
Yeah, we
Friday.
met on Tuesday with each firm, the 14th, met and scored on Thursday the 16th, and formally notified Waste Management on the 16th, or the 17th.
Mr. Rexroth.
Yeah, my first question would be for you guys. Are you guys gonna run the exact same routes we currently run?
I don't believe we'll run exact same routes. I don't know how we can do that. We have routing methodologies we can use to optimize. It would be a whole lot different, I wouldn't think, but not exactly the same.
So my question with that is, I live at the end of a dead end alley, and a lot of my neighbors are concerned. Our guys back down that alley. There's one house that is their address is on that alley. So would you guys back a truck down that alley to get that, or are we gonna have to call it clear in front?
Honestly, there's nothing you see in Parkersburg that we don't see across the state as far as a small alley, tight area, something like that. So yeah, that's something we're pursuing.
Okay, thank you. My other question is, and maybe it was answered and I missed it with all the information going, just back to the proposals versus these contracts. I get it, Rumpke was cheaper, we didn't like that they didn't separate recycling and solid waste, but even still, even if we just look at the waste management proposals, $17.65 for the first 2 years for solid waste, and then bi-weekly recycling at $4.35. How did we negotiate to go from what we could have had for $4.35 to $15.25, plus you gotta buy the can, or you gotta pay the $20 for the can?
I can proffer a little bit of insight as to that. I think it's back to, under the original proposal, everybody paid whether they chose to recycle or not, versus you subscription-based, where if you want to recycle, you pay a fee. I mean, that's the difference. So it's certainly gonna be cheaper for everybody if everybody pays and 20 or 30% of the folks use it. And I think that,
Okay.
I mean, I think that, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's why.
I get that part, but with the contract for recycling, and I know we're not to recycling yet, but it kind of ties in here. You know, we're obligated to, what was it, 900 contracts for that. If we only have 20 or 30% recycling, and we accept this 1525 for the first year, and we don't, I think we're gonna be on the hook for an awful lot of money here. When it's not used.
Point of order, Mr. President.
I've got a point of order. State your point.
We're not discussing, I think it's, I appreciate what Mr. Rexford is doing.
No, it's pertinent
But we're not
because
discussing sanitation. We're
Yeah,
not
but-
discussing recycling. That's a different ordinance.
this is solid waste. The proposal was for solid waste and
Ms. Cool's got point of order. I'm gonna rule point well ordered. You can bring that up during the recycling portion of it. If you have questions while Waste Management's here about the trash portion of the first ordinance on first reading, please proceed with questions for him.
well, I think I can hold on for that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yeah. The question I got, for residents that can't drag it out to the curbs, okay, they have to have a doctor's thing to turn in. So you'll go to their door and get their trash, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, if they don't go to the doctor then every 6 months to start with, so when we first start this, how will I get them to be able to get their trash picked up until they get to the doctor?
Well, in my experience, the phone call will take care of their work.
So they can call you and take care of that.
Well, their doctor, they can call
Their
their
doctor.
doctors.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Giles.
The city will make that determination. Okay, we've discussed, we've agreed, they're gonna honor our current curbside exemptions.
Okay.
Okay, and then residents making requests will make a request to the city.
Okay, so they'll call the city.
They'll call the city and we'll communicate through to Waste Management who should have the curbside exemption. And to be clear, we do not want anybody's medical records.
Right.
Okay, we don't want that liability, okay, just to be clear. But the city will retain the authority to determine the legitimacy of the curbside exemption.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? With no further debate, I'd ask Madam Clerk to call the roll.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Cool?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck? No. Mr. Huffman?
No.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroad?
No.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Bukowski?
Yes. By majority vote, ordinance is advanced to the second reading. Madam Clerk, item number 2 on first reading, please.
An ordinance to consider a recycling program agreement between the City of Parkersburg and Rumpke of Ohio Incorporated, and authorizing and directing the mayor to execute the same on behalf of the City of Parkersburg.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds?
I move to adopt the ordinance on first reading number 2.
I have a first, I have a second.
Second.
I have a first and a second. I'd like to make a quick comment. Based on the discussion that we've heard tonight and some of the questions, concerns about recycling, I would entertain a motion from council here to table discussion so we can have a robust discussion for an equitable solution for recycling for all parties involved, whether it be the city, whether it be residents, or anybody else that's involved with the recycling. So I'd entertain a motion to table this so we can get together and come up with a more robust solution.
Mr. President.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. We table item number 2. Could we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. President, could you put a timeline on that? Could maybe put 60 days on
How about 1 week?
How about 30 days?
Okay, my motion to table is for 1 week. We'll get together for the next council meeting. On the next agenda, we'll have a more robust, more equitable, fair recycling plan, hopefully in place based on the hauler, the firm that has responded to the recycling, and what is equitable for residents, whether they do or don't recycle, and for the city based on the 900 minimum and things like that. But I think we can come up with a pretty good plan, and I'd ask for a motion to table for 1 week and have it on the agenda for next city council meeting, January 13th.
Mr. President, before we table, you had offered us time to ask questions of both parties.
Well, there's no discussion on the table. I'm going to call for the vote. Mr. President. But okay, there's a first and a second. Let me just be clear with you. Robert's rules, when you make a motion to table, we have a first and a second. There is no discussion. The roll call, please.
Mr. President, there might be a time frame critical, and I ask you to hear from Mr. Giles and make it with your motion to table.
Go ahead, Mr. Giles.
I was just gonna say that the week is sufficient, okay? The week is sufficient.
Thank you. Connie, the roll, please. Table item number 2.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck?
No.
Mr. Huffman?
No.
Mr. Reynolds?
No.
Mr. Rexroad?
Wait a minute, it was his motion.
I made the motion. I made a suggestion. He made the motion. I asked for motion first.
But you didn't put a time.
Yeah, when I made that motion,
So it's his motion.
I want to amend the 30 days.
Put the time.
Yes.
Okay. I would ask to go back and repeat my recommendation, and if nobody seconds or first or second, that's fine. But my motion and recommendation to get a motion from the council would be 1 week to come up with a robust recycling plan that takes into account all parties involved, and I would ask for a motion from the council.
Mr. President.
Ms. Cool.
I would like to make a motion to table this ordinance for 1 week to have our meetings that we need to have to get a better idea on the recycling.
Mr. President.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
Are we able to amend the time frame yet?
We have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? I'm sorry, there is no discussion on a
Point of
motion.
order. Point of order. He made the initial thing and was seconded. You can't do it again and have this.
Yeah, my motion was never 7 days.
Okay.
30 days is my motion.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
And just for clarification, up to 30 days?
30 days exactly.
Up to 30 days, is that, I didn't hear what Zach said.
Hey, let me look at my calendar.
Zach, what's your motion up to 30 days?
A full 30 days. We'll revisit together in 30 days all of our research that we've come up with. So that would be February 6th.
I believe you're gonna have to cancel that, or schedule that for a council meeting, that is,
Yeah, you gotta give it a day.
Can't just do it for a meeting.
Okay, we'll do it. I'll make a motion for the second meeting of February 10th. Or the first meeting of February 10th.
Second.
We have first and second. Roll call, please.
This is on Zach's motion.
This is on 30.
Okay.
Correct. Zach's motion, Wendy's second. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Cool?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck?
Yes.
Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroad?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Bukowski?
Yes. Motion adjourned.
Move to adjourn.
Second, we're adjourned.